To attach the embroidery module on the machine, first remove the accessory box. Next, you need to look, because usually when your machine comes to you, this door is closed. There's a little lever. All you have to do is flip that open so it opens up where the embroidery module is going to connect. So then you can go ahead and move your machine to where you want it to be, and then slide the embroidery module on. You can do this while the machine is turned on or turned off. Give it a good push, and that is how you attach it. Once it's attached, then it will switch. No, it doesn't switch over until we tell it, since we are already in the sewing mode. But if we had the embroidery module on, it would have and then we turn the machine on, it will go into the embroidery section automatically. Now, just so you know, for removing the unit when you're done, there's a little lever that you're going to take your fingers and squeeze. And as you squeeze, that will pull right on off. The only time not to pull it off, pretty much while you're embroidering. That makes sense, right? Okay, so we're going to push it on, have that little click, and then we'll go ahead and get closer so I can show you how the foot goes on and how to move it into the embroidery section. Next, you want to take your screwdriver and remove the ankle of the foot. Now, I always leave a foot attached to the ankle so it's not just running around by itself. So leave that, put that in your accessory box. Now, the sensor Q foot, it has a little spring to it. So what you almost need to do is kind of squeeze it a little bit as you're bringing that around the post. So if it doesn't look like it's going on, it's because it needs a little bit of finesse. And once you figure out how to actually, you're squeezing for it to come around there, it makes a lot more sense and it's a lot easier to get on. So a little practice on that. Don't get frustrated. Get that screw nice and finger tight, and then finish up with the screwdriver. You don't want that wiggling loose while you're embroidering. Okay, so speaking of embroidery, to get over to the embroidery section, we'll go ahead and touch up in the top right corner, and that will switch it over. It says remove hoop. So every time you turn the machine on, it will ask you to remove the hoop, clear the embroidery on for calibration, calibrate the embroidery unit, and attach the sensor Q foot, which we've already done. So when you touch OK, the arm of the embroidery is going to move. That means move anything you have sitting behind it, in front of it. Get the pet, your cat, off your table because they will get freaked out. And you don't want anything to hit that, of course, while it's embroidering. So make sure everything is clear. I even go to the point where making sure my embroidery machine is pushed far enough back that this part here doesn't hit or extend past my table edge. That way my chair doesn't hit it. Like if I turn around and swing out of my chair, that chair back doesn't come and tap that. Believe me, we've seen that happen many, many times. You've put bobbin thread in your bobbin. And then one thing that you want to do when you're working with embroidery thread is go ahead and put it on horizontal with a spool cap. Or have you seen these? I love these. I love using a spool, a thread stand. And then this one's actually one that goes onto the Husqvarna Viking machine. It's called the Mega Spool Stand. I'll show you how this goes. We've used these a lot. It actually just takes care of thread. It's not that there's anything wrong with the machine or that you have bad thread or anything. It just allows the thread a little bit more time to relax as it's coming off the spool and before it goes into your machine. When working with metallic threads, this is almost like a little bit of a must-have, some type of thread stand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open one of these up, show you how this goes and where it actually attaches. There is a thread net. Again, not one I usually need to use when I'm using it. If you're using a big spool, that's a spool holder for it. This is going to sit on the vertical spool pin. We're going to put it on top of here, but before I do, I'm going to actually attach its little arm in here. There we go. Goes in and then snaps up. So it's really easy to put away when you're not using it. So what I'm going to do is when I put this on top of the machine, it's going to come here, and then my thread can just go up over the top. Then I don't have to worry about putting a spool cap on every single time I switch colors. So that's really the reason I like it. Other than, yes, it just makes all threads a lot happier. So it's just going to sit up there, and we'll go ahead and thread up the machine. And then, just like normal, and then you can use your needle threader and everything. If this foot is too high for you to use the needle threader, which sometimes that is, you can also lower that presser foot down. I've sometimes run into that where it's like in the way, but that one was no problem. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into how we set up the machine. We will also, let's say we are going to let's use our big hoop here. Let me show you how this actually goes on. So you can go ahead and slide it under the hoop. Go straight. There's no tipping needed here. What you want to do is look for the bracket. It should always be on the left side. And it goes in this little mouth. As you push it, I want you to use some strong hands. Push it all the way in until you hear a click. So hand up front and push. And when you feel that click, click, that means the hoop has properly attached to the embroidery. Make sure that you don't push this down while you're pushing that in. That doesn't allow it to click in properly, but you do use it for when you are removing the hoop. Push it down, pull towards you, and pull with some force, and again straight out, and you don't have to do any tipping as you take a hoop in and out of the machine. So next we're going to get into how do we select designs, how do we get started, how do we skip colors. We're going to go through all of those different things, and even how to hoop crooked and how to get things re-lined up. So make sure you check out all the videos, and we will go through all the different functions and features that you see when you're in the embroidery section.